you don't have a device to start with, you're not going to get the level of comfortability and resources that you feel like you need to have. And what you don't, and it's one of those where you don't know what you don't know either, which is horrible. We live in a world where like opportunity is driven from that as well. What's the biggest challenge to integrating technology in classrooms? I like this one too. Budget constraints, training, or resistance to change. This is one that I would love to give out to a large group of people and say, is it budget, training, or people's resistance? What do you think?
It's the three things, but when if you ask someone who makes the decisions, what is it that is keeping you from introducing more? So it's the three, but which is the biggest challenge? I think it depends on the school, the district, even the country. But I would say it's training, because as we said before, you have all this, but if there's no one who knows how to use them and to guide the students and everything, it's really, you have.
So I agree that training is important. But what I've noticed is in my world, and from what I read about the Conectar Igualdad, I have a balance of experiences that I completely believe what I read when I read the research too. So in my own experience, I focus on the mindset. And I think a lot of it starts with the resistance to change, only because you need to have leadership that understands it's valuable to create change. And if you don't have leaders who believe that these items are important, that you don't have people saying this is essential or you're going to fall behind, and then encourage and support others to take on these other parts, then you never get there. So that is I see that tied into that mindset of the resistance to change. The leadership needs to say, we really support this. And then when that happens, budgets change. And then you get into, all right, we care about this and we want this, and sometimes it's important to see it. Then that's when training can be the best. Because some of the research that was kind of disappointing in what I read was that when the devices were given out in Argentina, part of it was on the ground floor, some of the teachers didn't see the technology tied enough to their curriculum, even though there was teams supporting them. And then there was that resistance to implement it appropriately. And as soon as that happened, then the students kind of resisted. And then they didn't see a value in it. So that resistance to change, to me, has so many layers that I see that as the biggest one. And then budgets open up big time once people see value. And training is just so much better in quality when the slightest bit of a window is opened up to possibilities and value, and this is important and change your life. So no, it's a good question though, because it's multi-level. Is there a risk that reliance on EdTech could diminish traditional learning skills like handwriting and mental arithmetic?
The quick answer to me is yes. What about you?
Yeah, I would say the quick answer is yes on this, because what spurs me to say yes quick is you're negating something before you're seeing what you're losing.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice to write something down on a piece of paper really well because I had that training. I don't want to see, it's kind of sad to see someone who can't do that or take a really proper note. I don't want, are we losing generations of kids who can't do that appropriately and need a device to do that all the time?
Yeah, right. So, yeah, exactly. Is it worth it? Or maybe even spelling correctly, because you have the thing, if you're writing on the computer, that is automatically correct it for you, so you don't even bother.
I went into
In Spanish, we have the graphical accent, and kids completely ignore it sometimes, most times. And it's part of the language, and it's because maybe when you write this, that the graphical accent is added to it. You don't need to bother to. So, what is it useful to? But I don't know. I have mixed feelings.
I mean, there's also this reminds me of an experience I had yesterday.